Attention passionate Chicago, BARS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Chicago Bears' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Chicago Bears fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Chicago BARS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. The NFL offseason has been buzzing with moves, rumors, and strategic plays, and the Chicago Bears, as always, are right in the middle of it, but not necessarily with the headlines you might expect. This year, the NFC North has seen some seismic shifts, and one of the biggest stories isn't even happening in Chicago. It's in Green Bay, where the Packers pulled off a move that sent shockwaves through the division. Recently, on August 28th, the Packers traded away 2 first-round picks and interior defensive lineman Kenny Clark to the Dallas Cowboys, and in return, they acquired none other than Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, that Micah Parsons, the 4-time Pro Bowl edge rusher who's been a nightmare for quarterbacks across the NFC East and now, apparently, will be terrorizing NFC North offenses for at least the next 5 seasons. This move, without a doubt, has major implications for the Bears. It's not just about losing a star pass rusher, but about what it signals in terms of division dominance and competitive balance. The Packers are clearly making a statement. They're all in on strengthening their defense with a player who is arguably the most disruptive linebacker in the league right now. For the Bears, this is a wake-up call. They've been trying to build a more competitive roster, especially on defense, but the reality is, they still lack an elite edge rusher of their own. They have some promising pieces, sure, but no one at Parsons' level. And that's where this story gets even more interesting, because while Chicago didn't land Parsons, they're now eyeing potential ways to counteract such moves. The Bears came into this offseason with a lot of draft capital and a significant salary cap space, arguably among the most in the NFL, which gave them a good shot at addressing some of their biggest needs. They've been building with an eye on the future, drafting some promising talent, and trying to fill gaps on both sides of the ball. But the truth is, fixing everything in one offseason isn't realistic, especially when it comes to pass rushers. You need premium talent, and Parsons is the kind of player who can change the game single-handedly. Multiple analysts and experts have even speculated that the Bears were in the mix for Parsons, or at least considered it, but the reality is, Chicago's front office might not have been seriously in the running. Instead, they're looking elsewhere, trying to find a way to bolster their defense without overextending financially. And that's where Za'Darius Smith enters the picture. Now, if you're a Bears fan, you've probably heard about him. Smith, the 3-time Pro Bowler, has had a storied career with stops at Green Bay, Minnesota, and most recently, Detroit. Last season with the Lions, he tallied 4 sacks in just 8 regular season games, finishing with a total of 9 sacks on the year. That's solid production, especially considering he played at age 32 and 33, and he's still got a lot to offer. Detroit, of course, acquired Smith from Cleveland last year in a trade just before the deadline, and he made an immediate impact. But the Lions are in a tough spot now. They've got Aiden Hutchinson, who's proven to be a legitimate star on that defensive line, but beyond him, the rest of their edge rushers are either inexperienced or unproven. That's a glaring weakness, especially with a season starting soon. And here's the interesting part. Detroit's general manager, Brad Holmes, has indicated that the team and Smith's representation are still in contact, working towards a deal. But the Lions are aware of what's happening in Green Bay and Chicago. They're aware of the shifting landscape in the NFC North, and they know they need more edge rushers to match up with their division rivals. The Lions' roster isn't deep at that position, and their current set of players, aside from Hutchinson, doesn't exactly inspire confidence on paper. That's where Chicago has a real opportunity. If they can land Za'Darius Smith, it could be a stroke of genius, a move that not only strengthens the Bears' pass rush but also weakens a division rival at the same time. Now, let's talk about the numbers and what this signing could look like. Smith is coming off a 2-year, $23 million deal, which shows he's still valued in the league. The Bears could potentially sign him for around $10 million a year on a 1-year deal, or maybe even a 2-year deal, depending on how negotiations go. For Chicago, this makes a lot of sense. They need veteran leadership on defense, and Smith's experience, especially in high-pressure situations, could be exactly what they need to push their pass rush to the next level. Plus, with Austin Booker already on injured reserve, their depth at the position took a hit, making the addition of a player like Smith even more critical. Looking at the bigger picture, the Bears have been on an upward trajectory, but they're still in the process of building a complete, dominant team. They've been focusing on draft picks, trying to develop young talent like their promising linebacker core and some of their secondary pieces. But adding a seasoned veteran like Za'Darius Smith could accelerate that process, especially on the defensive line. It's not just about the immediate impact, although Smith can still bring pressure and sacks right away. It's also about setting a tone for the season, establishing a fierce pass rush, and creating chaos for opposing quarterbacks. And let's not forget the context of this entire division. The NFC North has traditionally been a tough, physical division, but in recent years, it's become a battleground of strategic moves and aggressive signings. The Packers, with their recent trade for Parsons, are clearly signaling that they want to dominate defensively. The Lions, with Hutchinson leading the charge, are trying to become more formidable. And the Bears, under new head coach Ben Johnson and with a roster that's still evolving, are trying to find their identity and prove they can compete at the highest level. The potential signing of Za'Darius Smith could be the move that tilts the balance in their favor. Now, what does this all mean for fans? Well, it's exciting because the Bears are positioning themselves as serious contenders, not just a rebuilding team anymore. They're looking to be aggressive, to make bold moves, and to challenge their division rivals head-on. A player like Smith could be the missing piece, the veteran presence that elevates the entire defensive unit. With the season approaching quickly, every day counts, and the Bears are clearly making strategic decisions to maximize their chances. It's a fascinating time for Chicago fans who want to see their team back in the playoffs, competing for division titles, and perhaps making another deep run to the Super Bowl in the coming years. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Chicago Bears news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So, as we look ahead to the upcoming season, the potential addition of Za'Darius Smith is shaping up to be a game-changer. It's a move that aligns with the Bears' broader strategy of building through both the draft and key free agent signings. It's about creating a defense that can pressure the quarterback consistently, disrupt offensive schemes, and give their young secondary a fighting chance to shine. It also sends a message to the rest of the division that Chicago is serious about competing and isn't content with just being a mediocre team. They want to be a playoff team, a team that makes noise and challenges the established powers in the NFC North. And for fans, this is what makes this offseason so exciting. The Bears aren't just sitting back and watching others make moves. They're actively trying to shape their future, trying to outsmart and outmuscle their rivals. Whether or not they land Za'Darius Smith, the fact that they're in the discussion, that they're making strategic moves, shows a franchise that's hungry for success. They're hungry to return to the glory days, to bring back the fierce physical identity that defined the team in past eras, and to make the playoffs again. And now, Chicago Bears fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Chicago Bears. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Chicago Bears news. This season promises to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and we'll be here every step of the way to bring you the inside scoop, the analysis, and all the action you need to stay ahead of the game. Thanks for watching, and as always, bear down.